the old world. Only one thing fighting for order in the chaos. The men and women of the Hall of Justice.
Alright, we've got Jackson and we've got Callum here telling us why you can't spell Dredd without 3 Ds. That was horrible. Just ignore that and go on.
No, Aaron, it was dreadful.
That actually worked.
It's true.
That's the worst part.
It was dreadful.
Oh, ha ha ha. No, right, I'm going to offer Cam's point here. I think it was very good.
You're right. I like the fact that Avon Barksdale was in it, playing Avon Barksdale.
Let's start and tell everybody, Dredd, what's the movie about?
Dredd. It's about Dredd.
Okay, Dredd is an adaptation of the graphic novel comic book series, very popular in Britain, well, in the British comic book scene, of Judge Dredd. And it's set in the near future where nuclear war is basically devastating the world, and most people most of the world's population live in a small, contained city called Mega City 1, where crime is ridiculously high. The poor get a lot bad over the upper class and all that, and the only people fighting for justice are the men and women of the Justice Department, who basically go around murdering people who break the law, or shoving them in ISO cubes the rest of their lives. However, you wouldn't really know about the movie, because the movie involves putting Judge Dredd with a new judge, literally her first day here, Judge Anderson, and sticking them in a big 200-floor building in order to go kill a drug dealer.
You do actually know that stuff from the film, because it's very smart about the way it layers in its background. It doesn't shove it in your face. There's a 1-minute monologue at the beginning. There's a 1-minute monologue at the beginning where he's like, "This is Mega City 1. This is why we're in Mega City 1. We're not." It doesn't it gets it out of the way. It gets it out of the way fast. And there's a scene where the first scene with the new Judge Anderson, he's like, "We can only respond to 6% of crimes maximum. Which one are we going to do?"
shit!
When you
that's how it's a really shitty world that the judge.
And it's really smartly brought up, like the way he, as an opening chase showing just Dredd doing what he does best, killing motherfuckers, and
it's not. It doesn't feel like exposition. It genuinely just feels like just little things dropped in. Look, it's not like people are spouting all this at each other. They'd already know. It just genuinely feels like something that somebody would say.
It feels honest, and that's what the best thing about Dredd. It's very honest. It's very real to its own world.
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll get to this criticism later, Matt. But I would say that its focus on the big building is both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness. But I'll get to that later. So, of course, the film is around Judge Anderson, who is a psychic and a slight failure of the Judge Academy, as in she failed her entry exam by 2 points or something.
Yeah,
they've given her a tryout day with Judge Dredd, where she'll basically accompany him and he will assess her as to whether she's worth being a judge or not. So they get called to the big complex, because there are 5 big complexes in Mega City 1 where just about 3/4 of the population live in each one of them.
Actually, hold on.
Called Peach Trees. Okay, go
on. There's the way it introduces Dredd's character is really, really good. You have the scene with Dredd and Anderson at the beginning, the way they meet with this head judge type person or whatever, and you just know this guy is one cold motherfucker, because he's just like. He's just like, well, she missed the test, but she's a psychic, so we need her, so we're going to give her a chance. And he's like...
he failed the test.
She failed when you say she's a psychic, can she read minds? Does she see into the future? Or?
Yeah. No, she can read minds.
It's not entirely clear at the beginning how far it goes, but you see throughout the movie the way her psychic powers work, and the way it handles that is one of the better parts of the film, because I didn't expect psychics going in, but when I got there I was like, holy shit. And that's why the film's a hard R, because there's an amazing scene later on with all the psychic stuff.
Yeah.
And also Dredd's character arc throughout the film, with the way he starts out like that. He doesn't change. He's still Dredd, but
Dredd never changed. Dredd never changed from the comics.
If Dredd changed, that would go completely against the source material.
He does change. He doesn't change, but it is really smart about how it does a subtle character arc for a grim character. The film, technically, the villain's not. It's just a criminal. He's just a day on the job, but it shows. It shows how Dredd is a badass, but how Dredd is also still human, and it's really smart about that. It's really good.
You can actually say that it's the most faithful comic book adaptation of anything in ages, because it literally just feels like something that could be ripped from there, just without any massive overarching plot.
Yeah.
So we get called to a big apartment complex called Peach Trees, which is run by Marmar, played by Game of Thrones and Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles Lena Headey. who is an evil drug dealer who's distributing the drug slow-mo.
Which is the best use of slow motion ever.
Time appear as if it's moving at, 0.1% its usual speed, which is basically just an excuse for, lots of slow motion.
But the slow-mo's really well done. I normally think slow-mo is the devil, or hilarious when it comes to kicking zombie dogs in the face. But in this film, it's done really well.
I think it worked here. I think it worked here because they didn't overuse it.
No, but also there's a scene where if it wasn't in slow motion, it would not have been as good. Because
I know precisely the scene that you're thinking. I think I know precisely the scene you're thinking.
It's the first scene. The first scene with those three dudes, but this is like the setup, so I can tell you this. Like she throws this guy, she gives him slow-mo, and she throws him off the top of this fucking huge tower. And you
after having skinned him as well.
Damn.
And it's a first-person shot in shimmery, beautiful slow motion with loads of effects of just.
It's a fucking beautiful movie.
It's a really long shot of this guy falling from what feels like miles because of how slow it is, and then he dies and gets crushed because it was only 2 seconds. But it was really effective in making you feel, oh god, this is what this drug does, and this is how raw Marmor is. It's
slow,
efficient.
The slow motion shots are amazing and very beautiful. You will not see a man's cheek like blowing up from being shot with a gun look more beautiful in a movie this year. I can pretty much guarantee that. Yeah, and so then Dredd and Anderson respond to that call, whereupon Marmor locks down the entire facility and forces Dredd and Anderson to have to go all the way up to the top of the building and, either arrest her or more likely murder her because she sends hundreds of people, because she basically turns the entire apartment against them.
Actually, no, that's how far we're going to go in terms of summary, because the rest is like...
Yeah, it's all spoiler stuff, but yeah.
It's all spoiler stuff, but it's like... the rest of the film isn't Dredd versus Marmor. It's Dredd versus staying alive. It's very much a survival film in that way. They're just trying to live. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to live and follow procedure. He just wants to be a policeman because he is not justice above all. He is follow the rules above all. And the rules say, and you're outnumbered, you run. Which I thought was a very interesting thing because most people think of Dredd as a one-man army type.
As a one-man army.
Yeah, but he's not.
Liam Neeson, essentially.
Basically. And he is, but only when he has to be. When he's not has to be, he will do what he's told. He will retreat. And another thing I really like there. So yeah, go see Dredd, guys. It's great.
Yeah, you should. One of the things I was kind of most surprised about it, but also in a pleasant way, is the fact that the action's not skimped on. There are one or two extended one amazing action sequence, which I really don't want to spoil because it was fantastic. It's like a big centerpiece in the middle of the film. Do you know what I'm talking about there, Jackson?
I do. It's very good.
Yeah, good. But at the same time, it's definitely like a character piece. It slows down enough for you to be able to get a feel of the characters and a feel of like how things are going in the situation, which kind of surprised me a lot because I was kind of expecting that I'd walk into this, it'd be 90 minutes of wall-to-wall action with like no soul and no heart, and that'd be it. And also, it also showed me just like how strangely darkly funny the movie is.
It's really funny.
It is really funny. There's no ridiculously witty quips or.
There's one
at the beginning.
No, there's one in this scene. Oh shit! What's the line where he says one of the lines?
Hot shot.
Not I am the law, but there's another line that from the old film that he says in the middle of some fight, and I can't remember what it was, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, but it's darkly fun. It doesn't stop in that sort of way. When they say lines, it's not like built up in a sort of let's stop the flow here so everybody can laugh. It's just like putting that, and it feels awesome. And also sometimes there's even one moment of brilliant physical humor where as they first head off into peach trees, this is only about like the first 10 minutes of the movie, so it's not this, but they come across a homeless man who's sat in the front there, and being homeless and living without home is a crime in Mega City 1. So Dredd warns him that if he's still there when he comes out, he's going into the ISO cubes. So they go in, they have this whole thing on the inside of him. Then they are about to leave. The guy's still there, so Dredd goes to arrest him, and then the building goes into lockdown. So then the guy is crushed by the door.
Shit.
By the door's locked. It's that sort of dark humour in there that just made the movie work. It wasn't just a soulless action movie. It had heart in there. It had excitement and. It was darkly human, and of course it was just a really, really faithful action movie.
Yeah, it sounds to me
it also kind of surprised me just how good everything was.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it is really a great adaptation of the Dredd comics, because that's how it was. It was very gritty, very grim, very bloody and gory, but it was in layers. Like, I mean, not a lot of people look at the Dredd comics and think, oh, that's just pure action. But I mean, they were supposed to be a critique of Margaret Thatcher, and so I mean, there was a lot of layers in there. Which,
it doesn't like go out of its way to go like down with fascism, but the judges are fucking fascists.
Oh yeah,
and it doesn't shy away from that, and like it doesn't pretend that they're still heroes like the original hilarious Judge Dredd movie did. But this is like, it gives Dredd a heart. It shows the society in a way that these are kind of necessary, but they're also what we would consider evil. And it's great. Just go see Dredd.
I'd say Carl Urban was a great Dredd.
He was. He and his jaw.
Yeah, his jaw acted the fuck out. Also, in case anybody, I know this has been repeated, but he keeps the helmet on. The only time the helmet is off is at the beginning of the movie, and that's when he's putting it on in the opening suit-up sequence, and you don't see his face. That's the only time that his helmet is off. The entire time it stays on, which is how it should be. Olivia Thirlby does a great turn as Judge Anderson, and Lena Headey basically just sort of acts like a badass in there. She doesn't have too much to do, but she just kind of like works as a seething villain. Almost as sort of like a wounded one. She doesn't act like a real villain, you know, that sort of, you know, we're all sneering like, oh, I'll get you, Judge Dredd, or whatever. She acts tired, like she doesn't, like, you know, really care about this whole lifestyle she's had, which I think works for the character very well.
Oh yeah, she's just like, I am here to make money and have power. I do not want to fight this fucking judge. Go away.
It's just not. Yeah. If I will have, there is one criticism I will have against. Oh, no, also, I'd like just quick. The music is fantastic. I really liked it. I know it's mostly like this sort of industrial boom boom stuff thing, but I thought it worked. I think it's the best soundtrack in a movie I've heard since Tron Legacy. But I'm currently going through that electronic phase anyway.
Do you like techno?
Yeah, basically, I'm going through that phase at the moment, so as well as my 90s alternative rock phase. So. If there's one criticism I will have, is that it's both the film's greatest strength that it just stays stuck to peach trees, because it makes it a great introductory film of showing this is a day in the life of the judges. That works. But at the same time, it introduces so many wonderful things on the fringes of the movie, like the actual universe of Mega City 1, and then the character in the ice, and then a big mid-film twist, which, of course, we're not spoiling here. That all hint, like, oh, I'd love to see this. I'd love to see a movie outside of this, but of course the movie's focus stays rigidly to the building. It's both its biggest strength and its detriment. It's its strength because it keeps the movie focused and pacey, but it's its detriment because I want to see a movie that explores more of Mega City 1. And thanks to the movie's box office returns, we won't be getting that movie.
Sadly.
Nor will we be getting a movie that has Judge Death, and the evil judges.
Oh yeah,
did you hear his trilogy? His trilogy plans were pretty awesome.
Yeah, the second one would have gone the origins of Dredd and Mega City 1, and the third one would have been Judge Death and the evil judges. Alex Garland had this amazing sounding like trilogy. And nobody went to see the first movie, so we almost definitely won't be getting it.
Well, how is it doing overseas box offices? Like, how is it? Like, I know here in America it did crappy.
In the UK, it went straight to number 1. It was the first 18-rated number 1 since Saw 6.
Well, that doesn't.
Saw 6 was a 15, wasn't it?
No, 18. All Saw movies were an 18. Yeah. No. However, 1, it was thanks to 3D tickets, and 2. No, nothing really made money that week anyway. It did have a good holdover week 2 when the Sweeney came out, but it did good enough. It did good enough in the UK, which hopefully is where like people will focus more, because Dredd is still rather big in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, over here in America, not a lot of people know about Judge Dredd, but I mean, overseas. It's so, over in Europe, it's so well known that I think, the overseas box office now does so much more business for people.
Yeah, it's basically as important to the studios amount as the American box office.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
China.
So I wouldn't totally rule it out. I mean, we might at least be able to get maybe some kind of an animated straight to DVD kind of movie. I mean, a lot of people are doing that now. With these science fiction films, when they have a vision and it doesn't go the way they want at the box office.
Just to close, like whenever you're like on the internet and you see people whining about not having 100% faithful comic adaptations or not having like good hard-ass sci-fi and why studios don't pump this out, the return receipts for Dredd should basically tell you everything you need to know. It's because you people don't go and fucking see it when somebody actually makes a half-decent one. And so instead, we get endless things like remakes of Total Recall and...
The remake of Total Recall wasn't that bad, though. So...
But was it...
And it also didn't do that well either. That also tanked here in America.
Yeah. I would actually say it's the other way around. No. People are seeing Dredd as a remake of that awful film from the 90s.
That is the problem. In America, that's what people see it as. Yeah. They see it as being a remake of the crappy Sylvester Stallone film.
Yeah.
And it's no more a remake than Batman Begins. It's no more a remake than Batman Begins.
Yeah,
it's just an entirely different interpretation, but of course people have long memories, and everybody was burnt when they saw the Sylvester Stallone movie.
I wasn't. That movie's amazing.
Do you remember when Rob Schneider was in a Judge Dredd movie?
I do. It was pretty funny.
Well, before we go out, what rating would you guys give it?
I'm gonna go 4 stars. Easily. I still need to see the Raid, but for now, this is my favourite action movie set in a bigger complex of the year.
I would go 4 or 5, probably 4, because there wasn't any time that moment where I was like, oh my god, say the end of Chronicle, which is probably the best moment of the film this year. But I would go.
Chronicle's in my top 5 definitely of the year.
Chronicle is the best superhero film of the year. Sorry, Joss Whedon. No, it's really good. I'd go 4. You said something that I completely forgotten now. I was going to comment on it, but I can't remember. So yeah.
Have you got any idea whatsoever?
No!
Was it on how bad of a judge Anderson has to be if she's a psychic and still fails the test?
Yeah, I was thinking... Oh, no, actually, no, because that's... You know why. Because she is honest. She's not... She doesn't cheat.
Oh.
Her psychic powers are a choice, and...
Which is beside... And she... Throughout most of the movie, and throughout just about all the movies, she stays as righteously good and that as humanly possible. So,
well, if you had big ass Judge Dredd sitting next to you the entire time, I wouldn't even let her say next to that dude.
Not even with Dredd next to her. She knows what she has.
She always knows what she's doing too.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing, and whilst Judge Dredd is follow the law to the letter,
Also, without spoiling it, Anderson has this amazing part. The film, I'm trying to put this in Vegas.
No.
The film sets up this big fight with Anderson. The film sets up this big fight, but it manages to then circumvent because the film remembers that somebody has an actual ability that they're not an idiot enough to not use.
No, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It's also one of the goriest films that I've seen in quite some time.
All right.
Oh, that was it. It's way better than The Raid. The Raid is bad. Dredd is good, because The Raid doesn't have any character, really, whereas Dredd is full of character, and that's why you care. Go see Dredd.
Yeah, go see Dredd. I want my Judge Death movie.
Negotiations over. The sentence is death.